Welcoming remarks. Let's have a nice round of applause for Dan McGinley.
Thank you, Billy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Carbon County Area Chapter of the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame, I would like to both welcome and thank you for taking time out on this wonderful Memorial Day weekend to help us honor the Carbon County area's greatest athletes. This is going to be quick. I would like to acknowledge and thank the staff of Memorial Hall, Times News, Channel 13, our DJ Tommy Hoover, and in honor of Emmett McCall, the bartenders. Also our MC Billy O'Gore, he does a wonderful job. I always like to remind everyone here that we would not be here today were it not for you, the athlete, and your dedication to sport. But you would not be here today were it not for the dedication of the following people. Please stand as I read your name. Hold your applause to the end, please. Emmett McCall, Vice President. Trevor Lawrence, Secretary Treasurer. Tommy Ware. Jimmy Wentz. Mike Ebert. Jake Boyer. Art George. Frank Carrazzo. Matt Moyer. Bobby Galacco. William Gardner. Rodney Stroll. Vince Spicek. Chris Hoffner. Brad Miller, who was one of our inductees, Eddie Cusco, Thomas Bonner, Herb Welsh, Evan Evans, and Dr. Rich Miller. These are the guys that put this thing together. Inductees, this is your day, and I hope it is a memorable day for each and every one of you, and I hope that you can return at a later date, as many of our past inductees do. Please, inductees, around 2 minutes would be perfect. Remember the rules of public speaking as told by Winston Churchill and invoked by 2010 inductee Randy Reaganall. Remember the 3 B's. Be prepared, be brief, and be seated. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Dan. Before we get on with introducing our inductees, I think it's only appropriate that we give a nice, warm round of applause to the staff, management, and the servers here at Memorial Hall for a great job. Great job. Okay, now here's the way we're going to do this. Obviously, the inductees' names and bios are in your program, so I'm not going to get long-winded and take 3 hours to read all them, but I am going to read a little bit about each of them. And you can follow it if you want in the program, and if not, you can read it at your leisure. But our first inductee is on page 6, and she taught for 25 years at Nesquehoning High School, where she developed and oversaw both the boys and girls gymnastic teams that were known to be the best around. In 1941, both of her teams gained first place in competition in the East Stroudsburg State College Gymnastics meet, as well as several individuals having won separate events. Her teams competed in the Pennsylvania State Finals, and she was instrumental in putting together the gym team, which choreographed dance and music, along with gymnastics on the mat. No one, I guess she doesn't have family, right, Dan? This inductee does not have any family, so there's no one here to accept it, but we want to honorarily induct into the Hall of Fame from representing Jim Thorpe, Catherine Curry. I'm sorry, from Nesquehoning. Right on that, Nesquehoning. Okay, and on page 7 of your program, a 1997 graduate of Palmerton High, she played field hockey and softball, but her basketball prominence was something to behold. She scored 2,662 points as a Lady Bomber, gaining all kinds of honors, and moved on to Xavier University, where she was the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, a first-team All-League selection 2 years in a row, and she ended up as the school's 4th all-time leading scorer with 1,755 points. She and her 1999 teammates advanced to the Elite 8 of the NCAA tourney and finished 31-3. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Palmerton, Nicole Lewandowski. And Nicole is being escorted escorted by Palmerton Hall of Fame Committee member Art George. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicole Lewandowski.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing this evening? Good. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee members for recognizing me, and it's a privilege to be up here amongst all the individuals being inducted tonight and the previous ones. It's always nice to come back to your hometown and still be recognized for things you did a long time ago. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'd like to especially thank my parents. Obviously, I would not be here without them for the most obvious reasons. But for the most important thing with my parents, now that I coach myself, I always want to thank them over and over for being the parents to let me be the player that I am and not try to live through me and try to push me to do different things that they wanted me to do. They let me be my own individual. And through that, I've accomplished a lot, so I thank them very much for that. It's been a great honor. It's been a lot of experiences, having played high school, college, and then being fortunate enough to play professionally for a year. I've been blessed with the talent, and I'd like to feel that I've maximized it. But I'm going to stay within my 2 minutes. I'm going to reserve some for some other people, but thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Okay, on page 5, a 3-year starter for the Marion Colts. This inductee broke record after record before graduating in 1978. He was the all-time Carbon County Panther Valley scoring champion with 212 points, and as a stellar running back, he rushed for 2,512 yards and amassed 3,019 overall yards. He was also a basketball all-star player for the Colts, and he set the school record in winning the school league title as a javelin thrower. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Nesquehoning, Jim Agosti, escorted by Nesquehoning Hall of Fame committee member Bill Gardner. Jim Agosti.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the committee also. I'd like to congratulate all my fellow inductees today. I'd like to say hello to my parents over there. All of us that have played and have been through all these years of sports know what our parents mean to us. So any day out with your parents at this point is a good day. I guess the point I want to get across is we were given opportunities as youths to get into the sports that we've gotten into. I'd ask all of you to use your resources, your time, your knowledge to help the youth in your area. Helping someone hold a bat, throw a baseball, throw a football means a lot to a young kid, and we've had that opportunity. And I'd ask all of you to, if you could, help the youth athletic in your area so that the children would be given the same opportunity that we were given. Thank you.
If you return to page 9, one of the most respected line coaches in area football, this 1971 graduate of Tamaqua High saw plenty of Eastern Conference Districts 11 and 4 and state championships won by teams in which he coached for the past 39 years. At Marion, he was part of their successful teams from 1976 to 92 and 2000 to the present, and in the interim, he helped Mount Carmel win 3 state championships and numerous other titles. He was Marion's highly successful baseball coach for 17 years, compiling a record of 192 and 101, including several championships. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Tamaqua, Charles Chink Conley. Charles is escorted by Tamaqua Hall member Tom Bonner. Tamaqua Hall of Fame Committee member Tom Bonner, escorting Chink Conley.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the committee for bestowing this honor of probably being in the Hall of Fame. I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. When Herbie called me that they're going to put me in the Hall of Fame, I was stunned and surprised, and I said to him, why? I didn't think I did much. You get it because of what you do in high school. Very well. I didn't do much in high school unless you consider basketball. I held a record for most fouls, most fouled out games, most technical fouls. Maybe I got in for that, but I don't think so. The other way is through coaching and do something good, so I must have done something good. But I'm here because of the people I work for. My head coach is Stan, Whitey, Tommy Bonner, who had the confidence in me to allow me to do what I do, give me free reign, run the defense, and take care of offensive, defensive lines. In baseball, I know the head coach, you surround yourself with good people. You're only as good as your assistant coaches. And Bobby Clemson, Jeff Neitz, Joe D'Angelo, fellow inductee Mike Miorelli were some of my assistant coaches. And of course, you can't forget the players who were willing to do what I told them to do and taught them to do, and they did very well. Kevin Trice, Jimmy Augusti, Jim McHugh in the background there. And one other person I want to thank, and probably is the most important person in my life, that's my wife. Without her support and understanding, I wouldn't be able to be coaching for 40 years like I have been. So I'd like to thank you, thank everybody, and again, thank you.
I want to introduce for you prior inductees representing Tamaqua. Please hold your applause. If they would please stand when I mention them. In 2007, we inducted Herbie Welch. Please stand, hold your applause. And in 2012, Dave Williams, Dave Whitey Williams. Can we have a nice round of applause for the inductees from Tamaqua prior year? On page 3 of your program, this inductee played football, basketball, and baseball for Lansford High School from 1958 to 62, during which time he was an offensive guard and linebacker, and he helped the Panthers go 8-2 in 1960 and 9-2 in 1961 when he was a big 33-game nominee. He was an outstanding baseball player as well, eventually trying out for the Yankees, Cardinals, and the Pirates. He went on to play and co-captain both the basketball and football teams at Stevens Trade. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Lansford, Edward Moose Koschulik. Ed's being escorted by Lansford Hall of Fame committee member and co-captain with him of the 1962 Lansford team, Bobby Galacco. Edward Moose Koschulik. Ed.
First of all, I'd like to thank the committee, the induction committee, for nominating me. Seems like it's been a long run here. 3.5 years ago, Bobby called me, and he said, "You want to get into the Hall of Fame? I'd like you to go in." I says, "When is it?" He says, "Late May." Well, I couldn't make it. We had a cruise scheduled, and that was up. So the following year he called, and he says, "Let's do it again." I said, "I can't do it. My wife's 50th reunion is right down the street here in Nescahonia at Macaluso's. And, you know,
to respect her or whatever, we went to that. So here we are, 3.5 years later. I don't want to make it too long, like everybody else, but before I forget, I want to acknowledge my mother-in-law's birthday today at 87. And she still calls me Moose. And of course my wife and my 2 daughters, my family, my sister's nephew, and by surprise, 4 grandchildren out of 5 showed up without me knowing of it. I'm just going to mention some names that maybe people from Lancer would remember, coaches in the past. St. Peter and Paul's, CYO, the Polish Church in Lansford, Walter Koziu, John Betcher Bukala. They really did a lot for me. At the age of 8, my father passed away, so to me, coaches were like a father. I know Betcher would keep you in his place. When you do the laps, if you're a little slow, you get his foot up like this and give you one across the rear. Now, as we go into high school, Dick Forrester was our football coach. Everybody knows that. He was a tough guy. 2 things I remember about him. He would say, every play is a touchdown. If everybody on a team blocks and does their job, we have a touchdown every play. And then the other thing was, since we really had a fairly small line in the locker room, it's not the size of a dog in a fight, it's the size of a fight in a dog. So that kept us going. Then we got on to John Harkins, which a lot of people know, assistant coach, and football, basketball. We only had we had 2 coaches for the team in those days. Now they have a coach for every player, I think. But we had practice at one time, blocking practice. And I'm not sure who it was, but one of the guys got up and he just fell over his feet. And John said, "Joe Blade made the tackle." Boy, did we really laugh at that. Meaning the blade of grass. Then, of course, at Stevens Trade, I had a coach named Dick Bevilacqua, who Johnny Zuzu worked with for a while there. And for some reason, I know we had a good team, but we punted on 3rd down. I don't know why, but we always had winning teams down there. He figures if you can't make it in 2, well, that's it. I forgot one other item about basketball. When I was a freshman, Chucky Hanna was a junior, I believe, or senior. So being someone who didn't have a father, there were father figures, along the way here. We would get all dressed up for the basketball games, coats and ties. And Chucky was the guy who actually taught myself and many other guys how to tie a tie. Double Windsor, single Windsor, whatever. And that's in the back of my mind. Oh, another thing at Stevens, when I was a sophomore, that would be the first year down there, I played with John Hackash, Joe Hollabeck, Lee Nyford from Tamaqua. I was like the 6th man. But they had a thing going on down there where the guys got together and says, we don't walk off the floor or walk on the floor, we ran. So we would run from the bench to the floor, and then the idea was more time to rest. Well, I might as well do this last memorable item here. Palmerton Legion baseball. In '62, the Lehigh Gap cantilever was being constructed, so we had to go through Aquashikala, Blue Mountain, and one of the guys in our team, George Nyer in particular, he would borrow his father's '62 Pinto, 4-cylinder, whatever. There were 6 guys in the car, plus equipment. He would go up the side from Aquashikala, and the car went so slow, half of us got out and walked up the highway. Well, anyway, for myself, life is good. I've been blessed by God. and been blessed with a good wife, good family. I thank the Hall of Fame committee again. This award, to me, puts the icing on the cake. And better yet, it called the sauerkraut on the kielbasa. Thank you very much.
On page 1 of your program, he started on the gridiron in the 1920s and was the leading ball carrier from 1921 to 23 for the Coaldale Big Green, one of the most successful football teams ever in the anthracite coal regions, and the famed team that pioneered what is today's NFL. Robert Maxwell, the namesake of today's Maxwell Award, given to the best college football player in the United States, once rated this man as one of the very best men playing football in the country. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Coaldale, the late James Blue Bonner. Accepting his plaque is his grandniece, Carla Hummels, escorted by Coaldale Hall of Fame committee member, Dr. Rich Miller. Carla Hummels, on behalf of her granduncle, James Blue Bonner.
The adage used to be quite common about behind every great man, there's a great woman. Well, apparently, Blue Bonner was a little more than that, because behind Blue were his mother, his 5 sisters, and his wife. They took a lot of support. Even when he was an adult, his sisters lived next door. 50 years ago, Blue passed away, but we have heard stories of him throughout our lives. He was a one and only. Prior to his generation, the name was not spelled B-O-N-N-E-R. It was B-O-N-E-R. And he was the only male in his generation, so he truly was unique. He was a one and done. But his fame has lasted, and I am so thrilled that we were able to come up to visit today. We stopped by his house in Coaldale for the first time since after his death in 1964. And my fondest dream was that it wasn't going to be dilapidated or falling apart, and instead we found a lovely young couple there and in the house next door where his sisters lived, and with true Carbon County hospitality, we were given tours of the house and invited in the backyard and took photos, and it's been absolutely wonderful. But it's a long time coming, and we're ever so grateful that all of you are here to join us in celebrating Blue Bonner. Thank you.
On page 8 of your program, a 1990 graduate of Panther Valley, this inductee captained the 1989 Panther team that went 11-2 and won the Anthracite League and Eastern Conference Southern Division titles. He was also an outstanding weightman in track and field, where he was a 2-time gold medalist in the District 11 competition and made 2 appearances in the PIAA, where he won a 4th place medal in the shot put. He was also a strong discus and javelin thrower, winning 2 District 11 silver medals in the javelin and continuously winning dual meet, league meet, and invitational meet medals. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Summit Hill, Joseph Perilli, escorted by Summit Hill Hall of Fame inductee, his father, Joseph Perilli.
Thank you. When I first found out that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, one of the first people I met and saw was Mr. Thorpe here, who saw me down to the corner store, and he said, "Congratulations, keep it brief when you have to use speed." So I will try. It is an honor, and obviously it's a special honor to be inducted after my father was an inductee in 2008. I'd like to thank my parents, my father and my mother for all the support they gave me for all these years. I'd like to thank my wife, who's, other than putting up with me for so long, she used to spend a lot of time at dual meets when I was at Moravian. They were 1-2 day meets, and she used to come out to see me throw maybe 3-4 throws all day. So I'd like to thank her. I'd like to thank all the players and the coaches. I've seen a couple of my high school coaches here today. You know, Coach Tom Ballner's here, Coach Rodney Leckleitner's here. We made some good teams at Panther Valley. I'd also like to thank the committee for putting this all together. This is wonderful. It's truly an honor. It's humbling. Thank you.
Please hold your applause while I introduce for you the prior inductees representing Palmerton. If they would please stand. In 1998, we inducted Art George Jr., Art, and in 2014, we inducted Donald Holland. Let's have a nice round of applause for our prior inductees representing Palmerton. And if you turn to page 6, this 1965 graduate of Palmerton High School played basketball and tennis there, and he returned there as a successful cross-country coach, where his boys and girls teams compiled overall records of 123 and 31, winning numerous league meet championships and 2 District 11 AA titles. He is the winningest boys cross-country coach at Palmerton High with a record of 77 and 21. He also played a key role in the establishment of the soccer program at Palmerton. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Palmerton, Jan Sosek, escorted by Palmerton Hall of Fame committee member and inductee Art George, and also Billy Sear. Jan Sosek, ladies and gentlemen.
I'd like to thank Art George in particular for giving me my chance at Palmerton to start coaching. I'd like to thank the committee for giving me this honor. I'd like to thank my wife and my family for putting up with me for all the years I coached. And especially I'd like to thank the kids, who some of them came here today, and I really appreciate that. And I'm receiving this award as a coach, and it's really all about them. And on that, I have a letter that I got a couple days ago from Billy Sear, and I'd like Billy to read and share his thoughts about Palmerton cross country with you.
I'm going to briefly talk about the impact that Jan had on the cross-country team. I wanted to reflect on the team, not how he took a team, but how he built a program in Palmerton and what made that so special. Many of you people will remember that Bill Piper was inducted into the Hall of Fame here, and he preceded Jan as the cross-country coach at Palmerton. In the fall of 1978, Bill Piper resigned as the cross-country coach, and I was a freshman, just finished my freshman year. And at that point, it became clear that we needed a new direction. The world of running was booming. Jim Fix had just published the complete book of running. Bill Rogers had won the Boston Marathon 4 times, and the world was changing quite a bit. And I don't know why I thought it was my job to find a new cross-country coach for Palmerton as a brash 14-year-old, but I asked Jan if he would take on the role of cross-country coach at Palmerton in the fall of 1978. I told him at the time that I thought it would be a really easy job. And the reason it would be an easy job is because I would do all the coaching and he would just have to do the paperwork. Now, of course, he has me doing his speaking, so it's kind of interesting that it works out that way. But it was a really interesting transformation. The world of running was transforming. Palmerton had a phenomenal success rate as a cross-country program, but the world was changing. More and more people getting into running. Cross-country had become a very big sport. Girls' teams were popping up all over the place, and Palmerton's success and dominance was beginning to fade a bit. And so when Jan took over the program, we felt like we were just going to continue the old program, but he had very different ideas, and his idea was to build a program, not just a team that had some success. His cross-country career got off to a rocky start. On the first day of practice in the fall of 1978, a strong group of Bill Piper's holdovers showed up for practice. We only had one freshman, and Jan wasn't even there for practice. We were greeted by Coach George, and we were told that Jan's daughter Kelly had a major health issue, and she'd be gone all week. We were supposed to run on our own for the week, and he would join us the next week. That was okay with us. After all, I thought I was the coach anyway, so we didn't miss a beat. It's a really good thing that Jan wasn't there for that first day of practice, because he would have had a coronary watching all the risks we took running through a thunderstorm, dodging traffic, running on the 4-laner through the gap and whatnot. He had inherited a very talented group of runners from Bill Piper, the holdovers, but the bench was empty. He set about building a program instead of just a team. The way he did that was pretty remarkable, and it's a lesson that we all could learn. He went out and decided to recruit runners rather than just waiting to see who showed up. He got us into the right invitations. He brought along great new training programs. Sometimes we wondered about some of the egg-headed ideas that he might have brought along to train us, but ultimately the team got better and got stronger. In his first year as a coach, the girls team won championship. And at the end of his second year of coaching, I ended up qualifying for the state championships and went out to Fort Indian Town Gap with him. As an individual runner, not as a team, Jan and I had the opportunity to go out to the cross-country championships. And when we got there, I didn't run particularly well, but on the ride home, he looked over to me and said, "This is a lot of fun. I want to come back. We need to come back." And that really was the beginning of, for him, a long road of success. The next year, the girls' team made it to states. I went back as an individual, but the success was spreading. It was spreading quite a bit. He had recruited more and more runners. We had a bigger and better team than we had ever had before. By the end of the time that I was in high school, the team had gotten to the point where we now had lots of kids running. And the real magic of it was the program was no longer just filled with the idiosyncratic kids that had been part of the program previously. It was now filled with the mainstream part of the school. Cheerleaders and basketball stars, student athletes, good students, bad students, it didn't matter. The team represented the school. And the program just grew into success. And then when I finally graduated and saw the success that was coming behind it, it was pretty clear that he had built a program. You know, in retrospect, when we look back, it is obvious that he was the right person to ask to take over the cross-country program in the fall 1978. Running was bursting into the mainstream and needed someone who would look forward, embrace the changes, reach out to others who could help and recruit a new breed of kid. And we needed someone who knew how to make the program attractive to more and more kids. Jan was that person, and the record shows it. His teams won 80% of their meets and hold 7 league titles, 6 league meets, and 2 district championships. And that's why he's receiving this award. But to me, the more important story is how he mastered the dramatic changes that were going on in the running world and turned a successful team into a highly successful program. That program could, year in and year out, deliver the kinds of results that merit his induction into the Hall of Fame. So on behalf of the many runners who he nurtured along, I want to thank him for sharing the ride with us. But I also want to say thank you for saying yes when I asked him. Thank you.
Okay, on page 5 of your program, this woman initiated and coached both softball and volleyball programs at Panther Valley. Her volleyball teams won 7 straight league and 5 straight district championships and advanced to the state tournament play several times. Her softball teams were just as successful, advancing to the state tournaments 2 years in a row. Overall, her teams in the 2 sports compiled a great record of 356 and 84, an unbelievable winning percentage of 7.728. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Nesquehoning, Anita Missantone, escorted by Nesquehoning Hall of Fame committee member and inductee, Anita Missantone.
Don't worry, these letters, well, I'm not as tall as I used to be. Don't worry, these letters are really big. I'd like to thank everyone in the community, especially Bill Gardner, for this recognition. It's great to be here. I am fortunate My athletes gave me a gift. Their dedication, diligence, and determination is the reason I'm standing in front of you. They've transformed empty gymnasiums and empty softball fields into paradise for fans and coaches. Together, we learned and pursued the benefits of unity, success, and humility, none of which came without sacrifice. Players, managers, scorekeepers, these young ladies exemplified the sincere commitment that's conducive to success. And so they're as much a part of this award as I am, and I can't thank them enough. So, what I'd like to say is that everybody who's been a past part of my coaching career, I'd like to thank you. It's been, I don't want to tell you how many decades, I don't remember that, but anyway. I have a special thank you to two people who traveled here from my very, very first team, which happened to be in Williams Valley. And I'm surprised I'm still coaching. They scared me. It was my first team. So Carla Smith and Carla Troutman and Sue Smith. In addition, I would like to thank Bill one more time and the committee, my family, and my friends, my very, very dear friends who are the most important people in my life, and they're sitting right there at that table. Thank you for joining me, and thank you again, Sonia.
On page 7 of your program, this 1964 graduate of Palmerton played 5 sports: football, baseball, basketball, tennis, and track and field. He was a tremendously fast sprinter, having been clocked at 9.9 in the 100 in his senior year versus Strasbourg. He won numerous individual championships in league, district, and state competition, and he helped the Bombers win league titles, league meets, and district championships as well. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Palmerton, the late Joe Wisniewski Jr. Accepting his plaque is his wife Harriet, the escorted by Palmerton Hall of Fame committee member and industrial artist. Ladies and gentlemen, Harriet Wisniewski.
Thank you. I am so proud to be here and accept this honor for Joe. I would like to thank my family and friends for coming here today to share this honor. I would also like to thank the committee for recognizing Joe's many athletic accomplishments, and especially Mr. Art George for his perseverance to have Joe inducted into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame. I truly wish all of you could have witnessed, like I did, Joe's sports moments. To see him smack a baseball, run for and score a touchdown, or sprint like a flash in the 100 and 220-yard dash. He was truly a great athlete and very deserving of this award. I hope somehow he knows by the turnout here today that we all do care about athletic accomplishments, whether they happened 5 days ago, 5 months ago, or 50+ years ago. Also, Joe would be celebrating a birthday in 3 days. So Joe, this is our gift to you. Happy birthday. Again, I thank all of you for today.
If you would please hold your applause, I'd like to introduce for you the prior inductees into the hall from Lehighton. If they would please stand as I introduce them. In 1992, we inducted Jake Boyer and Jimmy Wentz. In 2000, Michael Miller. Please stand as I state your name. In 2002, Glenn Warner. 2006, Gary Schoenberger. 2012, J. Marvin Barry. 2013, Jimmy Tack. And 2014, Robert Andrews. Can we have a nice round of applause for the inductees from Lee Heights? If you would turn to page 2 of your program, she scored 1,000 points on the court in both high school and college. Also set Jim Thorpe's record for three-pointers in a career. The MVP of the Lady Olympians basketball and softball teams in both 1992 and 93. She took her talent to Cedar Crest College, where she ended her career with 1,197 points and was an All-Pennsylvania Athletic Conference All-Star, later being inducted into the college's Hall of Fame. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Jim Thorpe, Mary Gillespie Whalen. Mary is escorted by Jim Thorpe. Actually, she's escorted by her husband, Tim. Mary Gillespie Whalen.
Hi there. I'd first like to thank you for having me here today with all these great athletes. It's truly an honor and my pleasure to be here. I would first like to thank my mother, my stepfather, and my two brothers for all their love and support over the years. Basketball and softball has always been an important part of my life growing up. It provided many opportunities for me and very much shaped the person I am today. None of this would ever be possible without being surrounded by amazing people. My coaches, teammates, my friends, the Gillespie, Whalen, and Herman families contribute greatly to my success, both on and off the court. My biggest fans have always been my loving parents. I could always count on them to cart me back and forth to countless practices and games, and to always support me regardless of the outcome of the game or my personal performance. The best feeling and most comfortable feeling in the world is to be able to look up at the stands and see your mother smiling back at you and cheering you on. Or to look in the outfield and see your stepfather watching from afar. You both mean the world to me, and I thank you for all your love and support over the years. As a mother and now a coach of my own children and their friends, I now gain an appreciation for the other side of athletics. Coaching now provides me an opportunity to give back to the community all the things athletics gave to me. To be able to shape and mold young children and help make them better athletes and individuals is now my new pursuit. So I want to thank everybody today, the committee, parents, coaches, teams, friends, for this awesome award. Thank you.
I would like to take a minute to recall some of the prior inductees in the Hall of Fame who have passed away, either since last year's banquet or one or two of them previously who were not mentioned. They included Al Leonzi of Summit Hill, Paul Vitek, Dave Malkin, Anthony Jazel, Jiggs Watkins, who was a Lansford committee member, and John Harkins, who was more than 1 year ago, but we will certainly want to remember John, all from Lansford. And from Lehighton, Harold Frey, Betty Mullen Bray, Abbott Asplin, Russell Jones, Lee Gomer. From Tamaqua, Dick Jones and Angie Constance, And from Nescahoning, Joe Fazio. And from Jim Thorpe, I think it was 2 years ago, the great Pip Rader. We just have a 10-second moment of silence to remember those gentlemen and gentle ladies. Thank you. On page 4 of your program, he played baseball for the Lehighton teams from the time he was a little boy through high school and later as a Lehighton Legion team member. But he is widely recognized for his role in organized baseball as the president of the highly successful Franklin Township Little League for an amazing 34 years. He coached 27 years in District 18 Little League and Keystone Babe Ruth play. During his tenure as the Franklin Little League president, the league has grown from one that had 34 players and 3 teams in it to one of the best leagues in the region and this part of the state, and maybe even the whole state, now with 600 players on 49 different teams. Amazing what he does for young boys and girls. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Lehighton, Wayne Wentz, escorted by his wife Sharon. Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Wentz.
Thank you to the committee, and especially my wife for putting up with me for those 35 years, and my family, and everybody here. And I'd like to thank Jake Boyer, Jay Barry, Carl Wolf, everybody back there. We played together high school, Legion ball. I had the privilege of being their catcher, and I had a choice, either catch the ball or chase it back to the backstop. So I decided to catch the ball, and they made me, enjoy being a catcher. If anybody wants to play, be a catcher. You'll get a lot of playing time later. But thank you all, and I really appreciate what you're doing. This is a great honor. And like Billy said, 27 years I've been coaching, and somebody came up and said, wow, you hold the record for most wins in the Carbon School Babe Ruth League. And I said, yeah, that's great. And another guy says, you also hold the record for most losses, so it's, it's kind of humbling, and I'm really humbled to be here today. Thank you. Thank you, Billy.
I'd like to introduce to you, and if you would hold your applause, the prior inductees representing Jim Thorpe. In 2005, we inducted Jack Kometz. Please stand, Jack. And in 2007, Donnie Herman. Can we have a nice round of applause for the prior inductees representing Jim Thorpe? And if you would turn to page 5 on your program. In 1955, graduate of Nescahoning High School. He played on its football, basketball, and gym teams for 4 years, and participated on the track team for 3 years. He quarterbacked the Warriors in his senior year and was selected to play in the year-end All-Star game. As a gymnast, he excelled on the parallel bars and was part of the best gymnastic teams in the area. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Nescahoning, the late Robert Rahatchik. Accepting his plaque will be his wife, Mary Helen, escorted by Nescahoning Hall of Fame member and inductee, Bill Gardner. Mary Helen Rahatchik on behalf of Ball.
I thank everyone who is responsible. I thank everyone who is responsible for honoring Bob to be inducted into the Carbon County Area Sports Hall of Fame. It is quite an honor. If Bob was alive, I'm sure he would appreciate and thank all of you who participated in this induction. Bob was a very active and energetic person. I could still see him standing on his hands on parallel bars, straight up, and tumbling backwards on the floor mats, and also swinging on the rings. He loved playing football, and he was a quarterback. In his senior year, he was selected to play on the All-Star team in the Lansford Stadium. I remember so well the applaud he received for kicking the longest field goal at that time. I don't know if anyone had kicked one longer after, but that was in 1955 for Thorpe. He also played basketball under the coaching of George Roscoe. He always had a lot of practice during and after school hours. Bob did a lot of running on the track team at the old Miscahony football stadium. Growing up, Bob did a lot of mountain climbing, hiking, swimming in the hollows and in the Black Creek. He was an avid fisherman and hunter. He liked freshwater fishing, standing in the rivers. Hunting, he spent most of his hours on the Broad Mountain, and also a sharpshooter when he was in the army and the military in Germany. It is hard to believe he became incapable of walking and would set his life back after all his physical maneuvering, his extra life, even being a paratrooper jumping from a plane. A story I will never forget. When we were in Alabama visiting my niece and her husband, we bought strawberries on the road to eat home after we went back home to the house after a day of traveling. In a huge canal and swamp, my niece spotted an alligator. Bob saw it and jumped right into the water knee deep and started throwing and feeding the alligator all the berries until they were gone. Courageously, my niece and I were scared stiff. Guess what we had for dinner when we arrived back at the house of my niece? She made alligator meat. No, that was not the one Bob tried to catch. But anyway, if she was alive now and Bob was alive, we would be honored, they would honor Bob, and I honor him also. In closing, I thank everyone for the wonderful prayers, the wonderful program and prayers that everyone has given us for this. Thank you very much.
On page 9 of your program, this three-sport athlete graduated in 1969 from Tamaqua High, but not before leaving an impact on the Raiders' football, basketball, and swimming teams. He was the leading rusher and two-way starter on the 68 grid team and a district qualifier as a breaststroke and freestyle swimmer. He went on to start for 3 years as a defensive back at Kutztown, where he led the 72 team in interceptions and was a running back and kickoff and punt returner as well. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Tamaqua, Dave Lahada, escorted by his son Andrew. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Lahada.
Before I go through the appropriate thank yous to the Hall of Fame Committee, I would like, if there are any current or former members of the military, to please stand on this Memorial Day weekend. So if there are any here, I would ask you to stand at this time and join me in thanking them for their service. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for this honor, and in particular, the Tamaqua representatives Herbie Welsh and Tom Bonner. I would also like to thank my family, in particular my wife Diane. She truly is my guardian angel, as would be read in my 1969 yearbook. when I got the call from Tom to be honored, it started to kind of click with me all the memories that I had of my time growing up in the coal regions. No longer being in the area, I started to look back at some of those people that have had quite an influence in my life, some which have been honored by this committee in the past. As I take a look at my high school years, I would be remiss not to mention names such as Danny Diebel, Tony Ford, and Joey Patrol, along with my head coach, Walt Legenza. As I went on to Kutztown, two very close friends, Gary Williams and Bob Ronsick, and the late Coach Al Leonti, all played a very big part in my life with respect to sports. So again, I would like to thank the committee for this honor. It's been quite a tribute, and thank you again.
On page 3 of your program, he blocked a punt that rolled out of the end zone in the then scoreless 1951 Coldell-Lansford game, giving the Panthers a 2-0 victory over his former teammates, whom he left when the family moved from Coaldale to Lansford. During his career, he played football, basketball, and track for Lansford High, for whom he once booted 18 straight PATs. He later attended the University of Wyoming on a football scholarship. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Lansford, the late Robert Popick. Accepting his plaque is his son Bobby, and he's escorted by Steve Vitek, who with Bob was co-captain of the 1952 team. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Popick, on behalf of his dad, thank you.
First off, I want to thank the committee. My dad will be touched and tickled by this award. So I want to try to give the speech that Dad would give. First, like I said, I want to thank the officers and the committee. Congrats to the fellow inductees, especially from Lansford. Moose, congratulations. And Jack, congratulations to your dad, John. I want to accept this award on behalf of my family, especially my Aunt Lorraine Taylor, my Uncle Kaz, and my Uncle Michael. And I also wanted to thank my Aunt Colleen, my Uncle Harry, my Aunt Clara, my cousins Dana and Paul, and my friend Eddie Cherick, who I work with at the Baltimore Orioles. Thanks for coming up. And thanks for coming up and supporting me today. Along with the fellow inductees, I'd like to congratulate the Mikovich family from Nesquehoning. It's nice to see you guys. And congratulations to Mr. Carl as well. And also I'd like to thank Mr. Steve Vitek. I don't think without his help Dad would be in here, so thank you very much. Mr. Vitek was one of the first people that accepted my dad onto Lansford after he transferred from Coaldale. So Mr. Steve was inducted, I believe, in 2002. So thank you for your hard work. And again, my Uncle Michael for your hard work. My Uncle Michael was inducted in 2012. So thank you, and also for all the kind words about my dad in the program. Thank you very much.
If you would hold your applause, I'd like to introduce the Hall of Fame inductees of prior years representing Nesquehoning. In 1994, we inducted Victor Mikovich. 1997, please stand. In 1997, Ed Waddle, Ed. In 2005, Billy Gardner. In 2006, Bobby Higgins. And in 2007, Victor Pivot. Can we have a nice round of applause for the gentleman from Nesquehoning previously inducted into the Hall of Fame? Thanks, you guys. On page 1 of your program, he was a running back, kicker, and punter for the Coldell Tigers, earning 3 varsity letters in football and gaining over 1,000 all-purpose yards in his senior year when he was 3rd in the Valley in scoring. He also lettered and led the track team in scoring as a senior and excelled in baseball as well. He went on to become a prominent high school and collegiate football official. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Coaldale, Jack Evans. Jack is escorted by Tom Terry and his son John.
The guy in the laser was my son. I am truly humbled to receive this recognition and very proud to join this select group. For me, this is my camp. I'd like to use a quote from Lou Gehrig. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on earth, and I have a lot of people to thank. First of all, Rich Miller and Adam Evans, the selection committee, Paul Merton, for nominating me, Bill Scott and Mike Hampshire for keeping me Coldell on my side. Current. I'd like to thank all of my teammates, but that's not possible, and too many of them have passed away. I'd like to single out my buddies from the city. Danny Tucker, Tommy Soko, the late Bill Evans, Len Miller. Those guys took care of me when I was sick, on and off the field. I'd like to thank the lovely ladies from my class for being here. Margaret Ann, Lynn, and Craig. But most of all, I want to thank you for your compassion, encouragement, and helpfulness when I needed it most. And if Ann Lynn tells you a story about herself as a young girl in her backyard, making tackles on Alan and Nietzsche, I'll let you be the judge of that story. Then there's that special teammate, becomes a friend for life, and a strong Terry, his family. Now I'd like to thank the people who are not here, but are in my heart. First of all, my mother and father. They made many sacrifices for me. It's hard for them to accept a sick child, and they took me from doctors, from hospital to Palmerton, Wilkes-Barre, Philadelphia, 2 holy sites, even a faith healer. There's no miracle to be had. In baseball, I was very, very fortunate to play for Mr. Dick Jones, and he taught me the fundamentals of the game. And my uncle, Bill Wislowski, taught me a variety of pitches to throw when I came of age. Today, I was looking down on his great-great-nephew, Christian Hackenberg, with a great deal of pride. I just hope Barry's not sure of his zero. Since I was 7 years old, I wanted to play football at Coldell. When I graduated from St. Jerome's, I was very anxious to get that permission slip to go out for football. My dad signed it. I remember that physical like it was yesterday. I was 5'7", 126 pounds. I'm still 5'7". That's a result of excess radiation at the age of 14, which affected my growth plates. However, the 126, that's in the rearview mirror. My first exposure to Coldell was Coach Tom Raymer. After about 8 days of practice, he comes up to me and he says, "Do you know your offensive plays?" I said, "Yes." "You know what to do on defense?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "How do you like practice?" I hesitated. I said, "Good." How the hell could it be good? It was 86 degrees, middle of August, and the man has given me a long sleeve woolen jersey to practice in. Talk about building character and mental toughness. I've had clapped by Coach Rader on numerous occasions on his porch for 3 hours talking football. And then I learned to go 4 blocks around his house so I wouldn't get trapped. Today, I'd give anything to go and sit on that porch with him and talk for 3 hours. Then there was Coach Gino Poli, who I didn't know this until after I graduated. He gave up a raise to buy a 4-scale oxygen machine for me to use during the football games. And his wife summoned me to his deathbed, and we exchanged some words, and I can tell you this, they grown men really do cry. I'd like to thank my family, starting with my in-laws, the Airlocker family, from being here today. I also want to thank Jack Leggett, who in the 70s, he and I started officiating at the high school level. We made it all the way to the top. We did all the big games over the years. We earned our way. And Jack tells you any stories about me off the field, believe me, they're true. But on the field, it was all business. Jack and I went on to the collegiate ranks, but unfortunately, we got split up on the different crews. I can tell you dozens of humorous stories, but they're all off color, so I'll back away from that. To my grandchildren, Jillian, Abby, Roman, Blair, and Ava, if you excel in sports, good. If you excel in academics, better. And no matter what, I will always be by your side, the good and the bad, and my unconditional love. To my children, John, Pauline, and Gary, I wasn't there all the time for all your events, and I apologize for that. And I'm very proud, as usual, of the successes you've enjoyed in life. And finally, to my wife, Pauline, thank you for putting up with me. You did a lot of things. You used to pack my bag, you would clean my shoes for games. And I know I wasn't home all the time. And I love you, and thank you, because you really bore sports well. Thank you all, and God bless everyone.
On page 6 of your program, he played 4 years on the basketball court and football fields before graduating in 1952 from Nesquehoning High, helping the Warriors win the 1951-52 District 11 championship in basketball. On the gridiron, he was the center for 4 years, being named to the 1951 Carbon Schuylkill Anthracite All-Star team. He received a full scholarship to play football at Temple, where he was a member of the Owls squad for all 4 years. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Nesquehoning, the late Carl Makovich. Accepting his plaque is his daughter, Carla Blazowski, being escorted by Nesquehoning Hall of Fame committee member and inductee, Bill Gardner. Ladies and gentlemen, Carla Makovich for her dad, Carl.
I'd like to thank the committee and Mr. Gardner especially for honoring my father with this recognition. He was a humble, quiet man who never spoke much about his accomplishments. One of the few things that he was very proud of was the fact that he was a District 11 captain of his District 11 basketball team, and they won the District 11 championship. His son John was then captain of his District 11 basketball team, and finally son James was the captain of his District 11 basketball team. Unfortunately, the cheerleading squad did not have a District 11 basketball team at that point. I know I wasn't even captain of the cheerleading squad, but I was his little girl. And Dad was approached many times about being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and always felt someone else was more deserving. It was all about everybody else. And since Mr. Gardner, Dad is no longer with us, and he can't say no anymore, when Mr. Gardner approached again, we said yes, because we felt that he did deserve to be here. So we appreciate you allowing us to recognize him and honor him, and thank you all for being here.
Very nice. On page 8 of your program, this inductee was a 3-year starter as a wide receiver and running back for the West Point Black Knights. He graduated in 1993 from Panther Valley, where he earned 11 letters in football, basketball, baseball, and track, and was an all-state receiver and a 2-time state medal winner in the hurdle. In 1993, he was named the Times News Male Athlete of the Year, and when he was at the Army, he helped the 1996 team go 10-2 and gain an appearance in the Independence Bowl. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Summit Hill, Brad Miller, escorted by Summit Hill Hall of Fame committee member and inductee, Trevor Lawrence. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Miller.
First, I'd like to congratulate all the 2015 inductees and thank the Hall of Fame committee for this very humbling award. It's a great honor to be among so many accomplished people. I'd like to thank my wife, Katie, for accompanying me today. Our 3 children, JC, Cody, and Mackenzie, could not be with us. They're out playing sports of their own. I'd like to thank the rest of my family and friends, all the coaches, some of them who are in this room today, for supporting me throughout my life and career. There are far too many names to mention. I generally like to start public speaking engagements with a joke, an anecdote, or a quotation. I'm not really that funny, so the joke goes out the window. But I did think of a quotation that I thought was appropriate. Arnold Schwarzenegger was asked, what 3 characteristics define his success? And his response was self-confidence, positive thinking, and hard work. 3 things that I've learned from my family, my friends, and coaches all along the way. Every success in my life up until this point, standing before you today, can be directly linked to some lesson that I learned playing team sports, competing, and growing up in this area. So with that said, I have one small request for everybody in the room today. Please continue to support your local athletics, your youth programs, the kids out there today. Give them the opportunities that many of us here have had to go on and do greater things. I have one final thought, one story I'd like to share. When I was in high school and I was being recruited, trying to figure things out, didn't know what I really wanted to do, somebody sat me down and they said, if you do something stupid and screw up a scholarship, you're going to go in the Army. So what did I do? I chose to go to West Point, ended up in the Army anyway. So Dad, thanks for the pep talk. In all seriousness, everybody have a happy Memorial Day. I'd like to thank our vets and servicemen. Thank you all.
Okay, on page 2 of your program, our next inductee was an outstanding basketball and baseball player at Jim Thorpe High. He earned 3 letters on the court from 82 to 84, where he amassed 1,043 points and joined Jim Thorpe's 1,000 point club, which ironically his father Jack was already a member. In baseball, he set records for his pitching and hitting prowess, being named to the All-State team and going on to try out for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Jim Thorpe, Scott Kometz, escorted by his father, Jim Thorpe, inductee Jack Kometz. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Kometz.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Danny McGinley and the rest of the Hall of Fame committee members for selecting me. And congratulations to all the other 2015 inductees. It truly is a great day. I'm enjoying myself. I actually was more proud to be doing this for my parents. But to be honest with you, I'm having a fantastic day just being around former coaches, players, and just friends. And especially some of the people that passed away in this past year, which I'll get into my speech real quick. My speech is mostly just a bunch of thank yous. First, to start off with, I want to thank my girlfriend Debbie for the last 7 years for putting up with me, for tagging along with me today for this event. And my nephew Adam back there for showing up and praying for me to be next so they can leave. I don't blame him, but he's only 12 years old and he wants to go home. But he did very good, so I'm proud of Adam. Next, I want to thank some of my coaches, my baseball coaches especially. Mr. Glenn Confer, my Little League coach, Mr. Ron Esrang, my Teener League coach, and my 2 high school coaches, Dave Malkin and Sid Lear. Words can't describe what they mean to me. They're like a second part of my family. I also want to thank my basketball coaches, Don Herman back there, Dennis Valiant, and Dan Novi. They've inspired me to take up coaching myself, which I truly enjoyed tremendously. And one day again, I'd like to get back into coaching. But for now, we'll end the coaching bit. But I just want to say thank you to all my coaches. I have many players I'd like to acknowledge, but to do this in 2 minutes is ridiculous. I can't do it that quick. But with 28 people, we're doing it as quick as we can. That leads me to my final bunch of thank yous. And that starts with my family. My brother Michael, my sisters Kristen, Kelly, and Carrie. And we had a big family. There were 5 of us within 8 years growing up. And my mom and dad drove my brothers and sisters to every one of my games growing up. So I want to say thank you to all of them. I want to say thank you to my Uncle Jim and my Uncle Jerry for tagging along and shagging all the flies down McGarvey's field. And my Uncle Jim for getting me involved in weightlifting, because that really triggered my getting better at sports. But most importantly, the 2 people in my life that I want to thank, even to this day, not only for my sports career, but for shaping me to be the man that I am. My #1 fan, my mom. My mom, you were such an inspiration. I mean, she just got done battling cancer. She is now cancer-free. I am so proud of her. So proud of my mother. She truly has been through hell the last year or 2, and it just shows what hard work can do. That leads me to this final guy. He just walked me up the aisle here. My dad. My dad and I don't always see eye to eye, but you know what? When the chips are down, or if I ever need something, I can always count on him. He's been the best mentor, coach, fan. He worked down at Conrail in Allentown one day and drove all the way up to Shamokin to see me play baseball, and he brought me my baseball bat. I think I even hit a home run with that bat that day, Dad. But he drove all the way up to Shamokin, Pennsylvania. My whole senior year, my dad was at every game. Didn't miss a game, didn't miss anything. And like I said, I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for my dad. With that, I just want to say thank you again. Enjoy your day, everyone.
Please hold your applause while I introduce for you the former Hall of Fame, or the Hall of Fame inductees of previous years representing Coaldale. And please stand as I state your name. 2001, Gene Ambridge. Gene. 2011, Dr. Rich Miller. And 2014, Bill Angel Donovan. Can we have a nice round of applause for the guys from Coaldale and Dr. Peters. On page 4 of your program, he won 7 varsity letters in basketball, baseball, and football for the Lehighton Indians, graduating in 1950, and later enjoyed a career spanning over 35 years as a PIAA football and basketball official, becoming one of the senior officials in District 11. 2 games he always considered special were a Northampton-Whitehall game that ended in a 0-0 tie, and the last Coaldale-Lansford Thanksgiving Day game that Lansford won 6-0. He worked as many as 18 to 20 football games a year. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Lehighton, the late George Tack. Accepting the award for George will be his son Tim, escorted by, and I'm sorry I don't have information on, Lehighton Hall of Fame committee member. Tim Tack, ladies and gentlemen, for his dad, George. And I think George wanted me to mention George's grandchildren, Bernie, Christy, Nathaniel, Ben, Simon, Noah, and Andre. Right? We wanted all them.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't want to come on.
I don't know, that's good. Thank you very much. I'll keep this short and brief. But we did want all the grandchildren to come up and my brother, but they backed out at the last minute. But that's the way Dad was. He always wanted family there. So on behalf of the entire George Tack family, we want to thank the Carbon County Area Sports Hall of Fame on the induction of Dad and our Pop-Pop into this very elite and prestigious group. Thank you, Dr. Boyer, for nominating Dad, and it's truly an honor and privilege. Dad loved sports. He did officiating for over 40 years, from 1952 to 1992. There's many men here in this hall this evening, Mr. Picta, Mr. Williams, and everybody, and the names just go on, that were involved with all the sports. His last assignment was the state AA championship football game in Hershey. We would often talk, and Dad said, you know, one day he said it would be really an honor and unbelievable that if I could ever be into the Carbon County Hall of Fame because of such great people that are part of this group. They are people that have been recognized and remembered who gave back to their towns, the high schools, communities. Dad was very quiet and humble. I mean, if he'd be up here talking today, we could say get another round because it would probably take 25 minutes for Dad to finish. Like I said, he wasn't a very talkative person, but he lived by example. He was quiet, but he was always looking to help others and would lead by example. He always wanted to help people. He never wanted to be in the limelight. I can remember many times my brother and I, we would go with Dad, we would travel, we'd carry his bag and his shoes just to get into games with him. We'd always come up here to Jim Thorpe when they started the Lehigh program with Mr. Annawald. We'd be in the Lehigh Valley, coal regions, everywhere. I don't think there wasn't a place we would go that somebody didn't know Dad. He loved his faith, family, and country. He served in the National Guard for over 11 years before he had an honorable discharge because of his knee. His family meant everything to him. Like I said, he wasn't one to brag or boast, but he loved to do the officiating because he kept him with kids, sports, and he was able to make a few extra bucks for the family. Inside joke, the family knows, he always had the officiating envelope placed in the freezer. It started there at the beginning of football season and would go through basketball and through baseball. It was always there in case of an emergency or something extra for family or friends. Basketball probably was the hardest. He worked down at the Lehigh Valley Post Office from 11:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. every day. He would do basketball, come home, grab a lunch, and be out the door and down to the Lehigh Valley for 11:30 at work. He also did this for the night shift so that he wouldn't miss any of our events. He always wanted to be there. He was always proud of his grandchildren and the fact that he had and Mom, they observed their 58th wedding anniversary last May before they both passed away this year. We know he and Mom were up above, looking down on us and proud as ever. This, I could say, is probably even harder than the funeral, because this meant so much to him. But we know he's there, we're proud of him, and he meant everything to us. Thank you.
On page 9 of your program, our next inductee graduated in 1976 from Tamaqua High, where he was a 3-year letter winner in football, basketball, and baseball. He quarterbacked the '74 team to a 9-1 record, passing for more than 1,000 yards and throwing 13 TDs. In his career, he amassed more than 2,500 yards and threw 22 TDs through the air. On the diamond, he helped the Raiders win the '76 league title and a 19-3 finish, after which he was named All-County. He went on to be a 4-year letter winner in baseball at the University of Delaware. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Tamaqua, Mike Miorelli, escorted by Tamaqua Hall of Fame committee member and inductee, Herbie Welsh. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Miorelli.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. I'm going to keep this brief. Some people might tip it and kill me. First, I'd like to thank the committee for this honor, this tremendous honor, especially Tom Bonner and Herb Welsh. I've known Herbie almost my whole life. I was thinking about he coached my brothers in knee-high football about 50 years ago. And his teams won championships. My teams won one game in 4 years. So I know this man whole life. I also like to thank my coaches. Walt Genza in football, he's been mentioned here tonight. Walt, my freshman year, Walt said there were 2 rules. No smoking, no drinking. I thought he was God. And I only broke their rule once. And when I broke it, Jimmy Welsh, our linebacker, fullback, shot me against the wall, and that was the last time I ever did that. Basketball, Frank's Lock was our coach of basketball. The thing I remember most about Frank was he'd take it, if I take you out of the game, I might just forget about it. So what I would do is, he took me out of the game, I'd sit right next to him. Tap him, and I'm ready to go. Get me in there. Dennis Carmonic was our baseball coach from Hazleton. A lot of relatives in Hazleton, and I get along with Dennis very well. My players and teammates I played with, you know, I like this quote from The Replacements. It says at the end of the movie, Gene Hackman says, "Greatness stays with a man." I'm not sure about all the greatness, but the fun and the friendship certainly did. And I was very happy. All the teammates I played with, in fact, Jimmy Augusty, one I played with quite a bit, Whitey Williams, inductee here. The fun and the friendships were okay. Finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Terry. When I got my first professional job at Hazleton Standard Speaker, I worked nights. I also played New Mountain League in baseball. So we played Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Sunday afternoon. So I took off every Tuesday and every Thursday so I could play ball. That meant I worked Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And still she married me. Thank you, Terry. Finally, I'd like to thank my 2 sons. Matthew, who's here today, and MJ. I played a lot of sports, coached a lot of sports. The happiest I ever was watching them play sports. Thanks, man. And thanks to the community.
I'd like to introduce for you the Hall of Fame inductees previously who are here with us today representing Summit Hill. In 2002, we inducted Trevor Lawrence, and he's already on his feet right here doing some work. In 2008, John Haycock, John. And in 2008, Joseph Pepper Pirelli. Joe, can we have a nice round of applause for the guys from Summit Hill? And if you turn to page 3, you'll see he was a starting guard as a junior and senior at Lansford High and helped the Panthers go undefeated in winning the state championship in 1944 when he was an honorable mention All-State nominee. He went on to play football for the University of North Carolina, which was interrupted by his call to duty in the Marines during World War II. After rejoining the Tar Heels, he was injured, but he later enlisted in the Army, where he was named to the Army All-Star team that played in the 1950 Rice Bowl. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Lansford, the late John Kranchik. Accepting his plaque is his son John, escorted by Lansford Hall of Fame committee member Vince Spizak. Ladies and gentlemen, John Kranchik for his father, John.
Thank you.
What I'd like to do is I've decided to cut my short speech much shorter. Not the reason I'm trying to be magnanimous to everybody, it's just that my father played 72 years ago, which is well before most of the people knew about Minnie Crouching. When I grew up, Coco Sarabach, Spider Ondurko, Steve Aracco, Mike Lukak, Johnny Chukrin, we heard those names every day. I didn't think much about them. Later on in my life, after my father had passed, I found that he played with one of the greatest running backs of North Carolina, Choo-Choo Justice, who came up to Lansford in his convertible with my dad. I also saw that Steve Aracco kicked for Notre Dame. Coco Sarabach played at Penn State. I met him up there a couple of times. Johnny Chukrin, of course, coached at Penn State. So the good part, and I didn't realize what it meant to be All-State Honorable Mention, except I heard as a family history that Coco Sarabach was the starting guy on the first team All-State. My father was Honorable Mention. They didn't want to have two people from Lansford, so they put my father and Coco well-deserved as he moved on. I'd like to thank the members for putting my father into the Hall of Fame. He'd be a humble guy. He wouldn't even know what all the fuss was about. But everybody I mentioned from Lansford, they're all deceased now, and thanks to the Hall of Fame, my father's joining them in the Hall of Fame also. So thank you very much. Enjoy.
On page 1 of your program, a rugged lineman. He started as left guard on offense and nose guard and linebacker on defense for the Coldell Tigers in the 1944, 45, and 46 seasons, being selected to play in the dream game of the Eastern Conference in his senior year. He later had a 5-year stint in semi-pro ball, and later he became a successful head coach and assistant coach off the court, including on the court, including helping the late Rich Davidjock lead Panther Valley into the Eastern Finals in a 29-2 campaign in 1985 and 86. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Coldell, Mike Frendak, escorted by his son, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Frendak.
To John Kranchik. I was around with all them guys that you mentioned, Coco Sarabach and Johnny Chukrin. I played with Johnny with the Toronto Indians after he left Penn State. It's such an honor and pleasure to be here. You don't know all the friends that are here, and it's just so great. I played 8 years of football, and then I coached about 25 years of basketball and football. So there was a lot of youngsters went through. And I hope my biggest legacy was to develop them into good citizens, and I know they are. And it's so nice, I see a lot of them around, and walk down the street and they're all, hey, hi, coach, and things of that sort. There are two teams, and I don't want to be here very long because I've been around so long, and my span between football and coaching goes from the 1940s to the 1980s. Two of the most successful things that I think I've been associated with, and I have to mention this, was the 1962 Colville football team was undefeated, and I would like the guys that are here from that team today to stand up. Please. And their coach was great, Gino Poli, was a good, close friend of mine. And while I'm here, another great thing that happened was I think we had the best basketball team that ever came out of Panther Valley. And I coached along with Richie DeVito on that team. And there's a member here that I'm looking at right now, is Jimmy McCoy. And Carl mentioned all the District 11 things. I think you're the only guy here for Jimmy. And I would hope that someday we could bring them guys in as a team. They were the greatest guys. And I want to thank the committee, and particularly Dr. Miller and Evan Evans for nominating me and being here. I have one funny little thing to say, and I'm not going to leave until I see this happen. Bobby Galacco's sitting over there. He's a Lansford boy, and he has orange and black on. His orange shirt on and a black black suit. But Bobby said, yes, I do, but I have red and white underwear on. So I am not going to leave until I see the stage. Thank you very, very much.
If you would hold your applause while I introduce for you the former inductees representing Lansford. In 2002, we inducted Steve Vitek. Steve. In 2005, Bobby Galacco. 2007, Chuck Hanna. 2011, Mike Carnish. 2011, John Zuzu. 2012, Donnie Gilday. And in 2012, Vince Spizak. Can we have a nice round of applause for the guys from Lansford? Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, the recipient gets a plaque and then the town gets a plaque, and they're held at a prominent place in each of those communities. I want to share with you that the Lansford plaques have been moved from the Mini Mall to a great place. And I think he's here, Jesse Hiles at the Sports Zoo has the plaques for Lansford, so I encourage you to stop down there and see the great job that they did down there, and they have great food as well. So that's where the plaques from Lansford are. On page 8 of your program, he led Panther Valley to a 17-4 record over the course of 3 years in which he was its quarterback from 71 to 73. A 1974 graduate there, he was named to the All-Eastern Conference, All-Lower Anthracite, and All-County teams as a senior. He also lettered in baseball 4 years and in basketball for 2 years before moving on to the U.S. Naval Academy, where he played freshman football and in his junior and senior years as a varsity lightweight football team free safety, being named in 1977 to the EILFL first team. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Summit Hill, and he didn't even need an escort, my longtime friend since we played Little League Baseball together, Gary Evans, escorted by Trevor Lawrence. Gary Evans.
Thank you. So many great athletes here today. I am honored and humbled to be here. It's funny, as I'm walking up here, you all know Billy O'Rourke as a politician. I grew up with Billy, and
We grew up when we were 10 and 11. He's known as the best SpongeBob pitcher in Summer Hill. I would like to thank my parents, especially my mom. She always used to tell me, just do your best. As I was walking out the door, she would say, make sure you got your homework done. I'd also like to thank my brothers. Dave is here. He was at the Naval Academy with me, but growing up, it's always nice to have brothers because you always have somebody to play ball with. I'd also like to thank all the great coaches and teachers and teammates I had at Panther Valley. I really did have some great coaches. Trevor Lawrence was my coach for 4 years in football. Richie DeVidjock, Bill McComas, Jay Huffman, Tom Ware's not here today, and Bobby Galacco. It's really good to have really great coaches as you're growing up and teachers. I will tell you one story. When I was a senior playing baseball, before the season, Bobby Galacco comes up to me and he goes, you know, you think you're a good hitter, but you know, you're only batting .333. And in high school, if you're batting .333, that's nothing. You should be batting .500. And I looked at him and I said, that's crazy. But, you know, I looked at that, and that was my goal that senior year, was to go and hit .500. And what I learned from that was that never shoot for average. Never shoot to be just a normal person. To do the best you can every day. So I want to thank Bobby Galacco for that. And lastly, I want to thank the committee. Thank you.
On page 7 of your program, our next inductee was a 2-time state champion pole vaulter, winning the crowns in 1963 and 1964. He won numerous individual championships and helped Palmerton High claim 2 dual meet titles, 4 Lehigh Valley League crowns, and 4 District 11 championships. He cleared the bar set at 12 and 13 feet continuously, including setting school and District 11 records at 13.5 inch and 13.1 respectively. As a senior, he was undefeated for the season. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Palmerton, the late Charles Biddy Romick. Accepting his plaque is his sister, Sally Lusitanish, escorted by Palmerton Hall of Fame committee member and inductee, Art George. Ladies and gentlemen, Sally Lusitanish for her brother, Charles Romick.
Hello. We also have my brother here, Greg.
Greg Romick.
And we're going to accept this together in honor of my brother, with honor and gratitude on behalf of my brother. And we also speak for my entire family that's here. We have quite a few that came out. Thank you to the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame Committee for recognizing Biddy's achievements. We really appreciate it. Special thanks to Art George. He was instrumental in this. And we're very proud. We are very proud of this. And it's been a long time coming, but we are so happy for it. You want to say something, Greg?
Yes, my brother pole vaulted with a wooden pole back in 1962, 1963, and we are very proud of this and that he's being recognized for this. He passed away in 1977. It's 38-year anniversary since he's passed away, and he set these records in 1962, and I think he held the school record until 1977 at Palmer High School, which was the year he passed away. And he would be very, very proud to receive this award from the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, because he really loved his roots here in the coal regions and Palmerton, and he was a Vietnam veteran of 3 tours in Vietnam, and he did what he did for this country when he used to be, when that happened, when they came back, he was spit on and all that. But I'm just sorry, this is Memorial Day, and he was a true soldier, and there were many, many soldiers that should be recognized, and they are recognized today.
On page 2 of your program, this 4-year letterman as an offensive and defensive lineman at Marion helped the Colts go 10-1 and 9-1 in 75 and 76, signaling the start of the school's football accomplishments that continue on a regular basis today. He gained numerous honors, including All-County, All-Southern Division, All-East Central PA, and was a Big 33-game nominee, gaining a full scholarship to play at the University of Texas, El Paso. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Jim Thorpe, Kevin Trice, escorted by his father-in-law, Frank Jacobs. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Trice.
I'd just like to thank the committee for this honor. I'd like to thank Danny for nominating me. I'd like to thank my parents for everything they did that enabled me to play football. And I'd really like to thank my family for coming out and enjoying this day with me. Thank you all.
On page 4 of your program, this inductee lettered for 4 years in track, 3 years in football, and 1 year in basketball at Lehighton High. He was an outstanding discus and shot put thrower for the tribe, winning the District 11 silver medal. In 1964, he helped Lehighton's football team win its first Lehigh Valley League title since 1924. He later went on to East Stroudsburg State College, where he was a 4-year letter winner in track and a 3-year starter, and was twice named to the All-East PSCC team. Please join me in welcoming for induction into the Carbon County Sports Hall of Fame, representing Lehighton, Carl Wolf, escorted by his wife Linda. Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Wolf.
Wow, thank you. I was afraid I was going to be the only guy here whose highlight films were all in black and white, but I guess I didn't have to worry about that. Hey, it's a big deal for me. And after thinking for so many years, boy, it'd be great to be in the Hall of Fame and everything else, when I finally got the call from Jake, I got that little selfish thought, boy, what the hell took so long? And when I thought about why do we play sports, it's not for the notoriety. It's for the intensity of the action. It's for being 100% involved in what we do. So when I thought about being recognized by people who knew the best of the people from the area, and the honor that that carried with it, yeah, then it became a really big thing. I think Springsteen probably put his finger on it in his anthem, Glory Days. Yeah, they'll pass you by. Glory days in the wink of a young girl's eye. The individual and team activities that we did, those memories stay with you. The wins that made you proud, the losses that kept you humble. Individual and team efforts, like hitting a jump shot with no time left, or helping to hold Larry Miller to 63 points in his last home game down at Lincoln Gym in Catasauqua. Those memories stay. And some of the others, just quickly. Breaking up a draw play on a 4th and 3 from the our 20-yard line to help seal a win against our arch-rival Westchester in their last game at Old Farrell Field. Or to be a 3-touchdown underdog and go to Bloomsburg and beat them 58-6 and hold their All-American tight end Bob Tucker to no points for the first time in his high school or his college career. The same Bob Tucker that ended up playing for the Giants. Those are the intense things that we play sports for, not the accolades, but we can appreciate these accolades when they come. And I see my wife just looked at me, so I know my time is passing by. And I want to say thank you for this honor. Hey, it's a big deal.
Okay, so there you have it. I just have one bookkeeping thing here. I need to ask all of the inductees to stay for a group photo after we break up here. Andy Livengood from TomahawkArea.com, who photographs everybody under the sun and will likely have hundreds of pictures on his site of all of you once you get a group picture. So if you would stay for that, that would really be nice to have all of you together. I would like to ask the members of the class of 2015 of the Carbon Area Sports Hall of Fame to please stand and hold your applause. Please stand. Everyone who was inducted or represented an inductee. And I say to you, hold on please, ladies and gentlemen, collectively, these 27 individuals and representatives represent all league, all county, all state, all Americans, and above all, as their #1 fans, they are all ours. Let's give them a great round of applause as our class of 2015. Once again, if the inductees would come up here to my left, your right, and please stand, we'll close with the benediction. Please bear with us. Gracious God, you are the source of all that we have, and all that we have in life we enjoy because of you. We thank you for bestowing upon us 27 great former athletes who we honor today. Look upon them, or those they have left here, with kindness and care. Gift us with the understanding that, like they had, success depends on hard work. As we go forward, grant us health and happiness, but above all, let each one of us lead our lives with honor and respect for one another, knowing that what we do on a daily basis, we do it for the glory and honor of you. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you everybody for coming. I hope you have a great Memorial Day. Once again, the honorees, please come up so Andy can get them.
Plaques too. With their plaques.
Please bring your plaques.